With great love and respect in my heart, I welcome you to this beautiful Sunday morning. It's very beautiful here, and I'm sure wherever you are, it's beautiful also. Before we begin, just take a moment to arrive, settle down, be comfortable, and close your eyes. Close your eyes. Lighten your mind. Invite that peace, calming, cooling sensation in your eyes. Relax your facial muscles, neck, shoulders, spine. Soften the belly and get grounded. Grounded. Connect with the breath. Breath is flowing in and flowing out effortlessly. Hold the image of as if sand is settling in a glass of water. So is all the restlessness, anxiousness settling down. Bringing the attention to the navel, imagine the breath is rising from there and expanding in your heart. A beautiful lotus unfolding as the breath comes in, and the lotus is closing as the breath goes out. Opening the lotus of the heart with the in-breath, closing the lotus with the out-breath. Keep the heart lotus open. Pause the breath wherever it is. And release it before you begin to tense. Pause the breath again. If there is any restlessness, any tension, relax into it. Release it again. And pause again. That anxiousness that comes in as soon as you pause the breath, practice relaxing in that anxiousness. Release the breath again. Holding the stillness of your body. Still the breath. Think about stilling your eyes. When the eyes become still, your mind becomes still. Pausing the breath again. Thinking of stilling our eyes. And letting the mind rest in the center of the forehead. let the breath come and go. Keep your attention in the center of the forehead. Your eyes are still, your mind is still in the center of the forehead. If there is any tension in your eyes, relax it. Thank you all for taking this time. And gently open your eyes. Long time ago, I had just arrived in Sonoma, and I was living with Father Dunstan on the Sky Farm. He was a Benedictine monk. Just two of us were living there. And it's a beautiful place right here in Sonoma. There is a little stream that flows from the hilltop, little waterfalls. So I was just sitting one day by the waterfall, not a big one, just small. And I was looking at this 2 feet fall of the water. Little bubbles were appearing. Big bubbles, small bubbles, a cluster of bubbles floating on the surface of the water. And I was just watching this. Some bubbles popping, some leaving one bubble and going and getting stuck with the other bubble and keep floating on the surface of the water, pop. The whole thing I watched, and it really came to my mind, this is human life. Because of some karmic predicament, we are born, we create an identity, a little thin layer separates us from the rest. That air trapped inside gives us a form, a shape. Then we put on a name, personality, a whole story creates around that. Floats alone or floats with somebody else or floats with a cluster, just floating, again falling. This really is life. One day it pops. Where it has come from, it goes back into that. But on this surface, it has created the name, a form, a story. Nobody really knows what happens when we leave. Nobody knows. There are books written and seminars and channelers and this and that telling you all about life after death. Really, nobody knows. That's one mystery that nobody knows. If they claim to know, you should smile and not pay much attention to it. Otherwise, you create another drama. What we know is what we got here. We got this life, and we are very blessed when we think about what is the purpose of this life. There is no purpose except one, and that is to know the self. Know the self. Self is ever pure, ever whole. Connected with that supreme presence. Just like those bubbles, it just was an appearance. Little air trapped in, created a little shape, floated, popped again. What air went to air, water went to water. The bubble, air trapped in here, gives us a life force. If the breath stops coming and going, what will happen? We all know. But breath is coming and going. We have this bubble floating that nobody knows how transient this life is. Anything could happen like that. But we create a story and we just get totally immersed in it. The real story is that one. So, if you have ever asked, what is the purpose of this life? The purpose of this life is to really know the self and keep remembering that. That's the only cure for the ailment that we experience while living a normal human life. We have our struggles, we have our differences, we have our quarrels, we have our challenges. That is not the whole thing. There is another aspect of your life, and that is ever pure, ever whole, unchanging, unblemished, one with Supreme. Even thinking about that I am not my drama, I am not my story, I am not my challenge, I am not my struggle. There is something more to life. And taking our attention to that, please know, wherever your mind is, that becomes your reality. Whatever you are constantly thinking, then that becomes real for you. That is within our control. Where we put our mind, what we identify with, that is within our control. If you are unhappy, it's not somebody else's fault. There is no one to blame. Every soul has come alone and leaves alone. On this stage of life, we are playing these roles: husband, wife, friend, mother, father, son, child. It's just like a stage, actor putting on the costume and playing that role. The truth is, each soul has come alone and leaves alone. And every soul has access to Supreme. No one to blame. If I am unhappy, I have to look at myself. How am I living? Where is my focus? What am I thinking? What I am talking about? What is real for me? Usually, when I am unhappy, immediately my mind goes to blame somebody else. That's the wrong place. Look at yourself. Are you living your dharma? Are you living what you are supposed to? If you give your best, everything will be fine. We give our best, keep our goal high. Little challenges that come will just bounce off. If I'm soft, if I'm lazy, if I'm not, then those things will come and stick in us. One and only purpose of life is to know the self. And you are divine being. You are not separate from God. We hear these things many times. We hear and we go. We forget. Then we go back to the same. But the truth is, that is the only work we need to do. Yes, living human life, we have our human story, we got our challenges, we got our drama. That will go on. That will go on. You solve one problem, next one will be standing next day. If we have to pray, if we have to be spiritual, if we have to be holy, may we pray that, oh God, please give me strength to live my best and the strength to deal with whatever may come my way. If you have to pray, this is all you need to say. If you live your best with remembrance, living the best means not only that I do this, do this. Living your best means living with remembrance also. That every soul has its own journey. Every soul has its own journey. I live and let live. If I can do something to help him a little bit, I do. If not, take a step back. Sometimes we are so consumed with somebody else's problem. And unless they are willing to do something for themselves, you can't solve them, you can't save them. What can you do? All you can do is be a good example. Be there. That's all you can do. I see, this is coming because I hear many times all week long I have been hearing people are coming with somebody else's problems and they have made it their own problem. And I find myself constantly reminding people that yes, that's a problem, they have a problem, you have made it a problem, but there is something more to life. Just push it all away for 10 minutes, half an hour. Take your mind somewhere else and see what else happens. Because that bubble is going to pop one day, whether the problem is solved or not. So while we are still have this life force, may we try to live our best. Being happy is within our control. And if I can be happy, those around me can be happy. If I am happy, those around me will be happy. If I am unhappy, I'll make others unhappy. So this is within our control, that how to make the best out of this life. Living with remembrance. This life is short. We sometimes get caught on small little things. Yes, you did that, you said that, you didn't do that, and I didn't. And just we keep playing that over and over and make our life miserable. When those kind of things happen, we have to just stop. Stop the breath. Just stop the breath. Slowly breathe in, slowly breathe out. Do this 5-6 times till you remember that life is short nothing is worth losing our peace. We may have forgotten, but let's get back on. Truly, your happiness is within your control. Keep the key of your happiness in your own pocket, not in somebody else's pocket. Whatever is making you unhappy, look at it from a grounded place. Look at it. Not look at somebody else, because the moment you start looking at somebody else, you have stopped doing the work that you need to do. Looking at ourselves is very, very, very precious and very important. Whether you are a householder, or you are a renunciate, or you are young, old, everybody, if we can have this, develop this ability to be able to look at ourselves. That's like digging into the gold mine. There are many nice things. Once you have developed this habit of looking at yourself, you keep finding many precious things about yourself. Sometimes catch yourself in the middle of nothing, whatever. Catch yourself and think about what kind of expression is on my face. Just catching yourself like that is also looking at yourself. Can I relax a little bit? Can I put a little smile on it? Just even that can make a big difference. So, we keep looking outside, and being spiritual practice is about turning that towards yourself. That's it. And when you turn your attention towards yourself, your mind is like a dog, it will bump around, it will run again. And that's when I give you the practice of stop your breath. Stop your breath. And the moment you stop your breath, there'll be anxiousness. Like you're being deprived of something. Yes, you are being deprived, but you're not going to die in 5 seconds, 10 seconds. Hold the breath. That habit, the muscle memory will tense, but that's the work. You need to relax into that anxiousness. And then again, take a breath. By doing this practice, you're not only practicing your breath control, you are sending a message to your body. You're working on many levels with this little practice. You learn how to be when situations are unfavorable. Because sometimes we just jump, we react to unpleasant situation. So this little practice of stopping the breath, looking what's happening inside me, and can I do something about it, is very precious. And you can do it anytime. You can do it living in your living room, laying down in the sun, or sitting on the couch. And if you're sitting on a couch with the TV on, leave the TV on. I'm not going to tell you turn it off. If you turn it off, it'll be a little better. Whatever. Come back to yourself. And when you come back to yourself, it doesn't matter whether the TV is on or off. It has happened to you many times. Everybody has experienced it. That sometimes you go in a state that no matter what is happening, you just didn't pay any attention. I have seen people who finished the whole big plate and they forgot what they just ate because they were thinking of something else, or they were watching football or whatever. So wherever your mind is, that is your reality. Bring the mind back to yourself. The world will go on, it will do whatever it does, but at least you will be able to deal with it in a better way. So, today I'm just really emphasizing the practice. I know lots of times people want to hear something new and some other story and this and that, but practice, practice, practice. And this is a practice that everybody can do. Stillness of the body, stillness of the breath, stillness of the eyes, stillness of the mind. And the whole thing can be done in 3 minutes or less. Even experiencing it, doing it 3-4 times a day, 3 times a day. In India we have sandhyas, there are 3 sandhyas. Morning, middle of the day, evening. You take a couple of minutes just to do this. Think about, okay, stillness of the body. I'm just going to be still for a moment. Stillness of the breath. Think about stillness of the eyes. Mind naturally acquires the stillness. And enjoying it. Enjoying it. You have to go beyond doing. When the doing becomes enjoying, something else happens. When you are sitting there with your eyes closed and mind relaxed, if not careful, then your you'll become anxious, or you'll become anxious to when the light is going to appear, or when something else is going to happen. Nothing is going to happen. It will happen whatever happens, but first your thing is to be there in total appreciation, acceptance, contentment. By doing these little practices, we learn how to be with ourselves. So we spend little time with ourselves and we spend lots of time with others. But once we have taken a little time for ourselves, we can be there for others in a much more meaningful way. Thank you all. As usual, I had no idea what I'm going to say to you, but whatever comes, I have full trust in it that everybody gets something out of it. So whatever you got, keep it. If something didn't make sense, let it go. Don't argue. Thank you all. Have a wonderful week. I'll see you again next week.